Alex Wassabi versus Idubbbz is a great matchup, and here is why. Alright, so Creator Clash number 2 has recently been announced, and the reaction to it has been very positive. I know the card contains a lot of fights. A lot of them I don't really know who they are, so that's why I'm going to focus on the main event today. But I watched the first one, it was really good, and after the success of the first one, I'm looking forward to this next one coming up later this year. Alright, so what makes this fight so interesting is the fact that it can really go either way. When looking at both of these two as fighters, they're both in the early stages of their career. There's so much that we haven't seen for them, and that's why it makes it so great. Because I really don't think there's a clear favorite here. And that's what I want to see from these fights. One of my biggest problems on my Misfits number 5 video was the fact that there's so many mismatches. And I complained that there wasn't enough fights to where you didn't know which way it was going to go. There are so many heavy favorites, and that's why this fight is so great, is because I honestly don't know who to choose when first looking at it. But after thinking about it for a while, I think I might be leaning slightly towards one more person than the other. Okay, so I'm going to start with talking about Idubbbz and then go from there. In Idubbbz' one fight in the main event of the first Creator Clash, he was going against Dr. Mike. And I think in that fight, although he lost, he really proved his toughness. Dr. Mike is a great fighter. He might have lost his last fight, but it was against a professional MMA fighter, and he still showed his toughness, and Dr. Mike is a huge dude compared to Idubbbz. Dr. Mike was a lot heavier than Idubbbz going into that fight, and he still couldn't put him away. So at this point, Idubbbz has proved his durability at least. His boxing skills weren't the best, but when you compare Alex Wassabi and Dr. Mike as opponents, there's a big difference right there. Boxing aside, there's already a huge weight difference. Dr. Mike is 200 plus pounds and Alex Wassabi is probably walking around at like 170. So already I do think this is going to be a much better opportunity for Idubbbz to show his boxing talents and to show what he's been learning through these past couple of years. And when I think of Alex Wassabi, he is a guy who's been working on his skills for sure, but if Idubbbz can turn this into a fight, boxing skills away, I don't think that Alex Wassabi has that same toughness in him. And I could be wrong about that, but I think if it came down to a close fight, Idubbbz would definitely be the tougher guy. I think he would show more heart, and he'd be willing to go into that extra gear to get the win. With Alex, you can bring up the Deji win. In his fight against Deji, he looked decent, right? He showed that he definitely has some skills, but overall, he wasn't that impressive in that fight. Deji really beat himself and just was not throwing anything at Alex's way. And I do think that's Alex's weakness. I think his weakness is his lack of toughness. And Deji just didn't push that to any extent, so we didn't get to see it. But at this point, I do think Alex is the more technically skilled boxer. So when it comes down to it, it's still early. We still have a lot of time until this fight happens. But my prediction as of now, I'm leaning towards Idubbbz. And that's because of the fact that I think he's had a lot of time to improve since the Dr. Mike fight, and the fact that we know he's durable and will keep going if the fight gets tough. I don't think Alex has that same ability, but maybe he'll prove me wrong. I'm not sure how many rounds this fight's going to be yet. I do think that'll be a big factor, but for now, I'll say Idubbbz in a later round finish. I think it'll be a TKO later round. Alright, so that's my prediction for now. I'm sure we'll see a lot more new footage from the two coming up soon, so maybe that'll change my mind. Subscribe if you feel like it and for more boxing updates. The support is greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching. Peace.